What if a country's most valuable resource wasn't something you could dig out of the ground, but something you create right in your mind? Today, we're taking a look at IACSA, the Intangible Asset Commercialization and Strategy Association. That's a mouthful, I know, but it's an organization trying to do something huge. Unlock the power of ideas to completely reshape Malaysia's future. At the very heart of all this is a really big question. What does it actually take for a country to go from following global trends to, well, setting them? Think about it. It's the difference between adopting new technology and being the one who creates it. And that one shift, that's what this whole explainer is about. So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll talk about that jump from follower to setter. Then, we'll dive into the big vision, the blueprint for making it happen, and how they actually put those ideas to work. And finally, we'll look at what this all means for the future of Malaysian innovation. All right, let's jump right into part one, from follower to setter. Before we can even begin to talk about solutions, we've got to get super clear on the core challenge that Malaysia is up against in this global innovation race. Okay, first things first, let's define a really important term here, intangible assets. I want you to forget about buildings or machinery for a second. We're talking about the stuff that's really valuable in the modern economy. Ideas, brands, patents, software, all the non-physical things that can be worth literally billions. This is the real currency of innovation today. And that leads us straight to the core challenge. See, Malaysia has plenty of brilliant minds and incredible ideas. That's not the problem. The real question is, how do you take all that raw potential, all those intangible assets, and turn them into real, tangible economic value? How do you unlock that treasure chest? And that, right there, is exactly why IACA was created. So, we've laid out the problem. Now, let's get to the exciting part, the solution. In this next section, we're going to explore the super ambitious vision that drives IACA's mission, which is all about positioning Malaysia as a global leader. Just listen to the ambition in that statement for a second. This isn't just about getting a little better, it's about leading. IACSA's goal is to put Malaysia at the very top of the game, making it the go-to place for turning amazing ideas into world-changing industries. Of course, a huge vision like that needs a really practical mission. And IACS's boils down to a powerful three-part approach. It's all about connecting the right people, building up the right skills, and creating smart strategies to make it all happen. Collaboration, talent, and strategy. Simple, but you know what? Incredibly effective. Okay, so we've got the vision. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. In this section, we're going to break down the actual blueprint for success, the strategic pillars that hold this entire mission up. Now, what's really important to get here is that this isn't just one single idea. It's a whole comprehensive six-part strategy. It starts with the foundation, shifting mindsets about innovation. From there, it's about building global networks, planning IP strategy, and nurturing local talent. And finally, it gets practical, tackling the real-world needs of financing and protecting these new ideas. It's a full 360-degree approach. And here's the smart part. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel. A huge piece of their strategy is learning from the best in the business. By modeling their plan on established global IP powerhouses like Singapore and Taiwan, they're basically adopting proven strategies to compete on the world stage from day one. You know, a great strategy on paper is one thing, but execution, well, that's everything. So in this next section, we're going to see how IACA actually puts these ideas to work. This is their toolkit in action. Think of them as a matchmaker for innovation. Seriously. An idea from a university lab is pretty much useless without an industry partner to build it, an investor to fund it, right? So ICCSM steps in and acts as that central hub, connecting all these crucial players, the talent, the companies, the academics, the banks, to create partnerships that can actually make a difference. Okay, so you've made the connection. A brilliant new idea is born. But that immediately leads to the next huge question for any innovator. How do you stop someone else from just taking it? And the answer is way more sophisticated than just filing a patent. ICSA helps develop really robust protection strategies using something called IP mapping. The best way to think of it is like a GPS for innovation. It analyzes all the existing patents and market data to show businesses where the real opportunities are, where the competition is tough, and helps them navigate a much, much smarter path forward. But look, protecting ideas is only part of the battle. The real long-term win comes from building an entire culture that gets it, a culture that understands and values intellectual property. And that means doing things like running workshops for everyone from students to CEOs, pushing for smarter government policies, and, crucially, bridging that infamous gap so that amazing academic research actually leads to real-world products. So, after all that, where does this all lead? In our final section, let's pull the camera back and look at the big, big picture, the future of Malaysian innovation and the ultimate impact of all this work. This slide, this is the why. The end goal isn't just about a few more patents. It's about using innovation as an engine for the entire nation. We're talking about driving the economy, sparking huge technological advancements, and fundamentally changing Malaysia's place in the world, making it a true global hub for expertise and influence. I really love this quote because it brings it all back to people. At the end of the day, technology and strategy, they're just tools. The real goal here is to nurture a whole new generation of leaders who just think differently. Leaders who are IP savvy and can carry this vision forward for decades. So as we wrap this up, I want to bring this all back to you. We've been talking about innovation on this huge national scale, but it always starts with a single idea. So the real question is, what valuable idea have you, or your team, or your company maybe overlooked? That's the challenge ISA is helping an entire nation answer.